Hey man, I was over here. I was over here looking at myself. I said, ooh, I'm getting a little strong over here. I ain't been working out or nothing. I'm looking a little, I don't know what it is. I'm getting that Buff Nations workout, getting strong over here. But so what we talking about this week, we talking about Stanford versus Colorado or Colorado versus Stanford. Stanford has to travel to Boulder this week. Um, this is a great week if you want to try to go to the game. If you want to try to go to the game and you don't have the money to pay the big prices, tickets are ranging from $150 all the way up to $1,500. So it depends on how deep your pockets are. If you can pay the $1,500, go ahead and be my guest. But for the average person, $150 to go see the Buff play, this might be the lowest you ever get to see them play in the next 2 or 3 years. I know why Shador is there. This might be the last time you get to go see them play for $150. And the reason why the tickets are kind of low this week is because Stanford is in the bottom of the barrel. I think Stanford is ranked, let me see, 111. Stanford got beat by Sacramento. So I didn't even know Sacramento had a college football team, but they got beat by Sacramento. So Stanford is not looking great right now. This should be an easy win, but we know with our Buffs, an easy win does not exist. This is everybody's Super Bowl. Even though, even though we dropped in the polls this week, we dropped. So we was high as I think 19 or 18. And then we dropped outside of the top 25 to like I want to say it was like 35 or something like that. But now we are ranked. Well, what is it? We 44 right now. We 44. We rank in the CBS poll. We rank 44. So we fell 3 points in their poll, and in somebody else's poll, I seen we fell like five spots or whatever. So even though we won, we lost, and a lot of people was disappointed. Coach Prime was disappointed. I was disappointed with the last game. I felt like we was gonna do more. I thought we was gonna have a dominant presence, but we did not. We failed to do that. And we can say it's offense line, we can say a lot of things, but I've been digging and going inside the numbers. So I'm gonna share with y'all something that I thought it was just because we wasn't running the ball enough. And we was putting too much on Shadur's shoulders. The reason why our running game is not starting to gel and come together. That's what I thought. But when I'm looking at the Stanford numbers, I'm gonna give y'all the numbers so y'all can understand what's going on. So I'm gonna kind of take a step back because I'm looking at the numbers and this math is not mathing. So we've ran the ball, Colorado, we've ran the ball 192 times. Stanford has ran the ball 198 times, right? So we ran the ball almost the same. Stanford is at the bottom of the barrel. Y'all remember that. Stanford has 748 yards rushing. We have 472 yards rushing. Stanford is beating us per average, per carry when they're running the ball. Now we have 8 touchdowns. They only have 6 touchdowns. But a lot of that is because Shador is running the ball in. It's not our running backs. It's Shador. We had a wide receiver. I think we had 2 wide receivers to score. I know we had Shador score twice. So that's 4 touchdowns. I know that's is not running backs. The only running back I remember scoring was Savion. So right now, our running game is not that good. And I thought it was because we were throwing the ball so much. Now look at the numbers throwing the ball. Because I was like, man, we doing too much with Shador. He's taking too many hits. This is not good football for the long term, right? So let's look at the Stanford numbers. Throwing the ball. Stanford is throwing the ball 141 times. They have 974 yards, 3 touchdowns. So y'all know Shador numbers look way better than that, right? So our rushing numbers are almost identical. Remember that. Stanford and Colorado rushing numbers are almost the same. It's 6 rushes difference, right? But they have way more yards than us. Now, when it comes to passing, we have thrown the ball 258 times. That's 117 more times than Stanford. But look at our numbers. Remember, Stanford had 974 yards passing. We have 2,023 yards passing. Stanford got 3 touchdowns. We got 16 touchdowns. So if you're looking at these numbers, if we get a ball more to our running backs, and if they do the same kind of numbers that they're doing, we're not going to have the upside that we do with passing. Passing, Shadur is such an elite quarterback, he gives us a better chance to win. So I'm like, okay, if we try to get a more balanced offense, we might lose the game. Like, we might lose the game because looking at the numbers, our running backs with the same attempts as Stanford are doing a worse job, and Stanford is at the bottom of the barrel. Understand what I'm saying? So I don't know if it's just the running backs are not getting in a rhythm, because Stanford running backs can't be getting in a rhythm, but they still got a better outcome because they got the same amount of carries. So I don't really know how to fix this problem. I'm thinking we got to change from the play calls, and we might have to move some of these linemen around. But if we don't continue to throw the ball with Shadur, we might lose more games. I understand that. I was thinking we just need to change it around and get more balance. But looking at these numbers, if we try to be more balanced, we might lose more games. Um, I think Savion is nicked up. And I also think J.Smith, Emmitt Smith's son, is nicked up. I noticed the last game I watched, he didn't play a lot. I don't even know if he played at all. The camera's so zoomed out, but I know I didn't hear his name get called in any of the highlights. Um, I want to get y'all comments, but I'm going down all this information I got. I'm gonna try to see right now how things are looking. We supposed to blow out the Cardinals. I mean Stanford. We supposed to blow out Stanford, but I don't know. With our team, their offense line doesn't look as good. They do have a strong pass rusher, but their offense line does not look impressive. Their defense line does not look impressive. We should be able to push them around, but I thought the same thing with Colorado State, and that didn't happen. I thought the same thing with Arizona. That didn't happen. So I don't know, y'all. Right now, the one good thing we have going for us right now is the game is on Friday. Since the game is on a Friday, we should be able to call coming in. Since the game is on a Friday, we should be able to get the same media attention that we've been getting, even though this is a team that's in the bottom of the barrel and it is not going to get a lot of media attention because the game is on a Friday. We should get a lot of attention. The more attention we get, the more eyes on our program, the better that is for us because now the more recruits see us. We stand in a national limelight. That means we're like a favorite to land some of these big recruits. So that's the main key things just leading up to this game. The one thing I like about what we did last week with the reverse, that reverse with the wide receiver and giving us a score, that threw off the defense. If we do more plays like that, maybe that can slow down the rush. We had the wide receivers that can run those reverse. We had like 3, 4 guys that can run that reverse that has the speed to get around the corner. And if we do that play more, I think it'll slow down the pass rush. The defensive ends will have to widen out and to check for that wide receiver. But I don't think we do enough motion in our offense to keep the defense honest. I think they get to pin their ears back because we have to throw the ball so much with Shador. It's not. I'm just worried about Shador right now, man. He took a lot of hits last game, and I can kind of see it was kind of taking a toll on his body and taking a toll on his mental. And I'm just worried about the young man. I don't want to see him get hurt. I want to have a good year, and next year I want him to look forward to coming back next year. but we will see. Let me see what y'all talking about in the comments. Um, let's see. Man, like I'm just trying to give y'all the truth, man. I'm looking at the numbers and I'm trying to find what we doing wrong. And I'm kind of frustrated, like Coach Prime right now. I'm just frustrated. It don't seem like we getting really just out coached. It just seems like things are not. They just not happening. I don't know if it's confidence, like the top corner, McLean. He had a great week for last, and last week he couldn't get it together. Um, so I don't understand how one week you play great against USC and then against Arizona, it's like you run around with your head cut off. So I don't. And USC got better wide receivers. So why I couldn't understand that. I don't know. I don't know about them holding back certain running backs and not wanting to shine. 'Cause from what I seen it with Jackson, Coach Prime, if you show you can play, cause Nugget was a prime example. He was a big time recruit that came into Jackson. He's supposed to be going to Georgia, and we thought he was gonna start at corner. When Travis got there and he was doing what he's supposed to do, and we had another cornerback that came in from Florida State that was doing what he was supposed to do, Nugget didn't get as much time. He did not get as much time as we thought. And even though he was a big time guy, JUCO guy, he only had so much time. Coach Prime put him on the bench because he could not get the plays. And times when he got in the game, he would have a bus coverage here and there. So Coach Prime would put him on the bench. So from what I've seen from Coach Prime, was if you don't know the plays, if you don't do the technique right, he won't play you until he can trust in you. And that's a lot of coaches. They won't play you unless they can trust in you. Now Dylan Edwards, like I said, I like Dylan Edwards, his talent, I like his speed, but even watching the Stanford running backs, they were able to pick up some of these blocks, some of these D linemen and linebackers head on and hold them off to get a quarterback time. I don't think Dylan Edwards can do that right at this point in his career. I don't think he's strong enough to do that. I don't think he has the size right now to do that. But if you use him as a receiver instead of as a blocker, he's more of a weapon. Um, so if Colorado's gonna leave him in the game, I think they got to hit him quick on the quick flare outs. So it's more like an extended handoff and not try to use him as a blocker. Yeah, they do need offensive linemen. I think they working on that, but we started to have some injuries with offensive line. So once you have injuries, sometimes you don't want to play too many of your backup guys and somebody else get hurt. So right now, I think Colorado hands are tied behind their back, and they're just trying to do the best they can until we can get some of these guys off of these waivers with the NCAA got them where they can't play. Like Brown should be contributing, helping us out, but because the NCAA hasn't ruled him eligible yet, that's a big lineman that could do a lot of things for us. He can play guard and tackle. We don't have him. I heard the lineman from Florida that transferred in. I heard he was hurt. So I don't know what we really have on the bench that we can really like use that's better than what we already have on the field. So some things we're saying we should do this, we should do that, but I don't know if they can even do it. Um, yeah, I understand. He said he need about 6 or 7 players, but he brought in a bunch of players too. He brought in a bunch of players from colleges that they was already playing and they were starting. Some of these guys, I know some of the D linemen were starting or they was getting a lot of playing time. So he's brought in guys that actually contribute on other teams in the SEC, in the ACC. So I was thinking some of these guys could plug and play. But as of right now, they have not been shown that they can get the job done. Maybe that's why I had some of my friends to tell me, Coach Prime is getting a lot of these guys, but they're really bust. They didn't pan out at their school, so that's why he's able to get them. So I'm not worried about these guys he's getting from Alabama or Florida State. If they was that good, they would have stayed at Florida State. But sometimes some guys they get into it with coaches, they don't fit that scheme, you know, and you're still a good player, you just don't work out for that coach and his scheme. But some guys are just mentally their awareness or whatever, or they just don't have the power, they don't have the explosiveness to make a difference in games. And that don't matter what, unless they go down a level, some guys just can't play on the higher levels. But from what I'm seeing with the defensive backs, these last 2 to 3 weeks since Travis went out, we had a chance to play a lot of different defensive backs, and some guys are starting to step up. Some guys are coming back from injury. So I was very excited about what I saw last week with our defensive backs. A lot of guys was flying around. We did miss a lot of tackles, but a lot of guys was flying around, and there was a lot of key players that were starters that went on the field, and you didn't notice it when the backups got in. They didn't just shred us. The only player they kind of attacked was uh the rookie. The rookie, he was the only one they got some balls off on him. And y'all know who I'm talking about. I don't want to always speak on this man when it's something bad. So I'm trying not to always just throw his name out there. It seems like I'm picking on him. But and in the end zone, the back shoulder throw against number 23, I think it's 23. I mean, it's hard for a lot of DBs. They started doing that big time in the NFL because it's hard for DBs to cover that back shoulder throw. So I can't really just come down hard on 23 because that's a hard that's just hard to cover for anybody. So from right now, this is what I got. If some more information comes out about this game, I don't even know if Emmitt Smith's son will be playing because he's been injured a lot. He got injured last year and he missed like the rest of the season. I know he played some games this season, but I don't know if he's playing right now. The last two games I seen, I haven't heard his name get called. So I don't even know if Emmitt Smith's son will be playing this this week against us. But I'm glad it's on a Friday, so we'll have the center stage. And last week our numbers were down because we were not on the major networks. So hopefully this week we'll bump back up. We want to stay in the spotlight. And some key teams lost last week: Miami, Texas, Missouri, and a lot of these teams we fighting for recruits. So we need this spotlight. We need to get this win when we the only team playing. So now everybody is looking at us. I mean, I know the high school kids will be playing their games the same time we'll be playing, but once they get home, they're gonna jump on YouTube. They're gonna watch the highlights for Friday night, Saturday morning. Colorado should be flooding the airways, and so that's more eyes on us, hopefully. Um, well, Trevor Woods, I mean, blown coverages, yeah, but Trevor Woods is hurt right now, so I don't know if he was playing hurt last week. He could have been playing hurt, and he's in the boot right now, so he could have been trying to tough it out because he know the depth that team has. He probably been like, look, I can't sit out. If I sit out, I might not get my spot back. And if you try to play hurt, that can kind of hurt you. That can really hurt you because you're not able to do what your body normally can do. And so that might have been the reason why he was blowing so many coverages. Because let's keep it a buck. Trevor Woods, he has done some good things for us. He came up with two big turnovers in the red zone, and that's game changing. So I'm not gonna throw him away when I find out he was injured. That's why he didn't play last week. The spotlight isn't going anywhere, but when we keep dropping in the polls, some of these big guys, some of these five-star guys might start thinking like, well, it might be better for me to just sign with Georgia or for me to sign with Ohio, I know they're gonna be consistently ranked in the top 25. If I go to Colorado and if we have a fall off, if Shador get hurt, we might not be in the top. So let me go where it's sure money at, you know, a tradition that's been here for 10 plus years instead of me going to Colorado, that might be fool's gold. So some guys are still on the bench. And then think about it, you got to convince some of these parents more than you got to convince the players. So Colorado needs to kind of stay up there. We need to try to get back. I hope we go on a winning spree and get back in the top 25. When you're in the top 25, that helps you recruit so much easier. Yeah, Pac-12 coverage is garbage. It is. It is. I mean, recruits do understand it. The recruits understand it, but the parents sometimes don't. But y'all, look, that's what I got. If I get some more information, I will bring y'all something else. So I'll see y'all on my next live. Remember, comment, like, and subscribe.